You give to these questions will help to shape your worldview. Okay. Now, what is a worldview? A worldview is a way in which a person explains the world and his place in it. This is the worldview. Your worldview not only affects the way you think, it also affects the way you act or behave. Your worldview will shape the quality of your life. Okay, kita kata worldview. Now, in the long history of mind, now we'll look into the topic on worldview. Okay, what do we mean by worldview? Now, in the long history of mankind, there have been many different ways of explaining the world. How we look at the world, how it came about it, how does the world work, and what is man's place in it. Macam mana kita boleh berada di dalam the bumi? How we were able to sustain ourselves on earth. Now, some people have seen the world as a mysterious with dark and evil forces at work. In such a worldview, a person's life is ruled by superstition and fear. So you thought there are evil spirit lah, the good spirit lah. So when you have that type of thinking, then you think that such worldview will make a person's punya cara pemikiran, penuh dengan superstition and fear. Now, this is example of certain worldview. Okay, have you heard of Atlas? Now, at one time in the old world, people were thinking that how the earth could remain afloat. Okay, because there is a person by the name of Atlas. He is holding the earth. Okay, macam ni. Okay, the thing that you see here. Okay, oh you. Okay, just a minute lah. Okay, tengok. This is the earth. Okay, there was this person, big giant, putting the world on his arms. And then later, people say, why must this guy be a white person? Why can't he be a black person? Nampak tak? So they have images of this Atlas being a dark person. So this is concept worldview. Okay, and we also now know that there's no such thing. Mana ada person carrying the earth? We also know that already now. Okay. Now there was also a worldview also during the Renaissance period, during the the upcoming of the European punya ni kan, masa 13th and 14th century, that they thought the earth was a cube. Because when they saw the kapal, the ship move away from the port, and then when it reached the end, and then the ship disappear, they thought that the ship will fall on the edge of the horizon. So they were thinking that the earth, and they were telling the world, the people, that the earth was a cube. And we know that it is not true. So this is the worldview at that time. Now we know, because we already sent spaceship outside. NASA, they send the spaceship, they take picture of the earth. This is the earth. It's spherical. It's covered with atmosphere. It has clouds. And then we were able to measure the movement of earth now. Now you look, this is the average orbital speed. Okay, this orbital speed here means the speed of the earth around the sun. Okay, now the earth moves at this speed. Look at the speed, 107,200 km per hour. Laju tu, very fast. The fastest supersonic berapa? About 3,000 km per hour. The fastest. Even spaceship also can travel maybe about 5,000 km per hour. But the earth itself can move. Even if you have the fastest means of transportation, it can never able to chase the earth. Tapi you don't feel anything, right? Do you feel anything that you are moving on earth? Why? And you know the earth is spinning. revolving around the sun. And at the same time also we know that the earth, as it moves around the sun, it spins or rotates on its axis. One complete rotation is 1 day. Okay? And it keep on spinning and move around the sun at this speed. And the earth, by definition, is therefore a Muslim. It is submitting to this divine will. Nampak tak? It submit. This is the natural law. That the earth move around the sun at that speed, and at the same time also it rotates. This is what we call the natural law. Okay? It cannot do anything else but to submit to this divine will. And this man, 1500 years ago, was talking about this, embodied in the Quran now. Was saying about the earth, remain in a certain orbit. Ini 1500 years ago. And this man is no man of science. He doesn't know anything about the speed of the earth lah. He is a messenger. He only say things which are being placed in his mouth. Okay, this is Prophet Muhammad. There are many things that he say many years ago, which only now that we can see the real thing, the truth. Now this is the earth. Now, others have seen the world as a bright, rich and beautiful place. And now we understand the earth now. It's a very beautiful place. They do not show concern about how it came about or what will happen to it. They are happy to make the most of it, to drink, to eat and enjoy life. While you are still breathing, enjoy your life. Now if they do think of life and death at all, they might just say, we live and die, and nothing causes our death except time. And everybody knows. You also know, I also know. The time will come. Every one of us will die. Anybody will say this to us, or even to yourself also. And they will just say that when the time comes, I will die. Okay? Now, other worldviews on this. Okay? Some people have seen the universe as a background of good and evil, of light and darkness, of positive and negative. This is their worldview. Okay? Among the Chinese, I'm sure you are aware there was this yin and yang concept. Yeah? For example, among the Chinese, there are the ideas of yin and yang. Yang refers to light and heat and goodness, whilst yin refers to dark, cold, damp and bad. So this is a concept of good and evil. Not only the Chinese have this, the Persians also have this, the Zoroastrian. These are the ancient people of Persia. Okay, they also have this concept of the force battling with the force of evil, the force of good battling with the force of evil, between Ahura Mazda and Angra Mainyu. Now, some people get their worldview from religions which hold that there is a creator or maker of the universe or a supreme being. So there are many religions that have this concept of the earth, the universe was created by a creator. There is, and we also know there are many religions that talk about this. Now, religions differ about the nature of this supreme being. Among the religion, although they have recognized there as this supreme being, but among the religions, they have a different concept about this supreme being. Some say that this being has absolute power. He can do whatever he wishes, and no other has a share in his power. Others will associate that this being, the supreme being, with other gods, with demons and spirits. Nowadays, as we know, many people have turned away from religion, and a belief in God. We have seen this, in Europe, in US, where the people who were originally Christians, they have turned away from the religion. They no longer believe in God. And as we know, the church is experiencing a deep number of those who goes to the church during Sundays. And many of the church in Europe now, and even in the US, they have sold to the communities For example, in New York, they have sold one church to the Muslim community. Okay, rather than selling this church to bistro for drinking, so they have sold this to the Muslims for them to make the house of worship to a mosque. Now, many feel that the idea of God and of a creator is an invention of man's imagination anyway. Some people say that this is all nonsense. This is all man-made. They want to think that there is a God, this is a God that create everything. This is some people. These people also feel that man has the power and the right to what is best for him. That man can do anything they like. Okay? And men are powerful. Such people are described as atheists. They are also being described as agnostics or humanists. Now, what is an atheist? An atheist is one who denies the existence of God. Yeah? An agnostic is one who says that he does not know whether God exists or not. He may even go further and say that he does not care. He is really quite close to the atheist. A humanist is a person who insists that human beings alone must decide what is best for them, for there is no such thing as divine laws. So man is responsible for man's own conduct. Right? Now, at the same time, as they turn to humanism, many now turn to science. It seems that science can give answers. And the scientific method for their understanding of the world and man's place in it. They may have a notion of science as something exact and precise, and of scientific method of collecting data, carrying out experiment, and then for determining what is true and what is false. From all their observation, they can conclude what is true and what is false. Some people pick and choose to form their own worldview. For some questions, they may turn to a religion, especially at times of duress. So when you have difficulties, only then you turn to a religion. For other answers, they may turn to an astrologer. Okay, these are, or even they look into the horoscope in the newspaper, okay, or they go to a popular guru or a fashionable ideology like Marxism to get some answers about living in this world. Now let's look at this false and true situation. Now it would seem that human beings as a whole are totally mixed up and confused without any hope of finding out what is right or true. It may seem that we are groping in the dark, not really knowing where we are, from where we came, and where we are going. Still, many are groping in the dark. They do not have answers where they come from and where would they go after this. Now, in this situation, we may well wonder if there is any way of knowing what is true and what is false. Clearly, all the ways of looking at the world cannot all be true. Some appear to have some things in common, but each is different from the other in important ways. Now, let's go further on the worldview. Of any worldview, we may ask, does it portray the truth? And is it at least reasonable? We should not be content with a worldview that is false and that is not supported by reason and logic. Is it capable of explaining reality as a whole? We should not be content with a worldview that can only explain or furnish knowledge on the part of reality. You must have a complete, comprehensive worldview. You cannot have a limited worldview. Can only explain a certain part of reality. Now, so far as human beings are concerned, does the worldview cater for and can it satisfy human needs and potentials? Does it provide proper values to live by and valid goals to strive for? Which of the worldviews can have people's mind can thus be described as valid and reasonable? complete and logical satisfying. Okay. Now let's look at science being a worldview. Science, as we know, seems to be able to answer many things, but yet science has a limited worldview. Now, no single person on his own, no matter how clever he is, can give complete, valid, satisfying answer to the questions about the origins of the world. Nobody has the answer. Where the origin of the world or the origin of the universe. The science can explain, but that explanation is not conclusive. Now, no group of person can do so either, to give complete explanation about the origin of the universe. For example, all knowledge of the world and the universe amassed by scientists throughout the ages is knowledge of only a small part of reality. What they understand is very little, not comprehensive. For example, I'm sure some of you have looked at Newtonian law, that he was able to measure the force between the two objects, and he has this famous what you call the Newtonian physics law, that the force that hold these two body is equal to this equation. Okay, so from this simple Newtonian physics, we were able to determine the weight of the earth, the weight of the moon, and all those other heavenly bodies. Or even Einstein theory of energy, which is equals to E equals to mc squared. Yet towards the end part of his life, this is what Einstein say: there must be something that is controlling the orderliness of the universe. He himself also acknowledged, that how the universe is perfect, and there is something, he say, which is governing, which is controlling the orderliness of the universe. But he was not able to declare his belief. Now, however much scientists in the future may come to know, there will always be a point where they must say, we do not know. The scientists also will acknowledge. For example, until today, the scientists do not have answer for cancer. How advanced our medical science is, we still cannot solve the problem of cancer. From the standpoint of science, the universe is like an old book with first and last pages, of which have been lost. Okay? Neither the beginning nor the end is known. Nothing about the beginning and the end is known by the scientists. Thus, the worldview of science is a knowledge of the part, not of the whole. Very limited. It can give certain answers, but it cannot give you a comprehensive answer. Okay? Science, as the word is now widely understood, acquaints us with the situation of some parts of the universe, certain aspect of the universe. It cannot explain the essential character of the whole universe, or its origin, or its destiny. Where does the universe go after this? It does not explain. We can understand only, but it does not explain everything. The scientist's worldview is like the knowledge about the elephant gained by those who touch it in the dark. So if the person touch the elephant dekat telinga dia, okay, the person will say that, probably the elephant is like a fan. So this is the scientific answers to many questions. And the person who touch the elephant's leg will say that the elephant is a column. And if it stay on the back of the elephant, it might just say that it's like a diwan or a throne. So this is how science is able to explain, only limited explanation. Science, it has been said, is like a powerful searchlight in the long winter night, lighting up a small area in its beam but unable to shed light beyond its border. Like a torchlight in the dark, you can see only where the torchlight target the object, but outside that you still cannot see, it's dark. Now, the power of reason. Now, fortunately, in our quest for a true and valid worldview, human beings do have a special gift of power. The one thing that we have given to us by our Creator is the power of reason and logic. You can use this. Of course, we must realize that this power is in itself limited.